Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Tuesday, the 1st of March 2022, and happy St. David's Day to all who live in Wales or are Welsh. Now, in our video published on Sunday, why this week could secretly be important for gold and silver prices, we drew your attention to Jerome Powell's testimony before the House of Representatives on Wednesday and before the Senate on Thursday. And this, culminating with the Non-Farm Payrolls on Friday, will pave the way as to what level of interest rate rises, and then potentially prices of gold and silver, we can expect to see in March and perhaps for the duration of the early part of this year. Now, we've placed a link to that video below. Meanwhile, gold and silver prices are rising, and you may be wondering about the Seagull picture we are showing you while we cover this, and it's a seagull on our roof being seen through the skylight window, playing with a ball. We thought it more interesting to watch than just a plain old graphic. Now, meanwhile, let's just take a look at what is affecting gold and silver prices, what's the news and economic data surrounding it, and what we can expect to see in the days to come. If we take a look at what's happening across a number of commodity sectors, we can see immediately that WTI crude is actually up $2.63 over the last 24 hours and currently stands at $98.35. It's gradually caught up with Brent crude because there was a discrepancy at one point of over $5 between the two prices. Brent crude has again hit the $100 mark and is currently standing at $100.99, so de facto $101. Precious metals, we can see that gold is up $13 and currently stands at $19.14. That's the COMEX price for the April 2022 contract. The spot price is $1,913. Silver for the May contract is $24.55. And we can also see that copper is up, and so too is platinum. In fact, performing better than gold and silver. So copper is up 1.86% and platinum 1.22%. On the agricultural front, we can see that other commodities are also rising. Corn up 3%, wheat up 3%, cocoa though down 3%, cotton up 0.2%, and live cattle marginally down 0.35%. Now, some of the important headlines that were published yesterday that are worth just a brief look. Big oil walks away after decades in Russia. Now, we're not going to read much of this, but first BP, then Shell. In just 2 days, Britain's twin energy giants have dumped Russian investments nurtured over decades and shut themselves out of the world's largest energy exporter, probably forever. And let's not kid ourselves, there is a concerted effort amongst countries now to truly isolate Russia. And if this story is true, these firms do not conduct that sort of activity lightly, and that is for sure. Another interesting article published, in fact, in Forbes yesterday. More Russian billionaires speak out against Putin's war in Ukraine. Again, we're not going to read much of this, just give you a flavor of what's actually being published in the last few days. As the United States and Europe ratchet up sanctions on Russia's wealthiest, including a promise to hunt down their yachts and mansions, oligarchs who amass their fortunes by remaining loyal to Russian President Vladimir Putin are beginning to speak out against his invasion of Ukraine. Now, this is the obvious but yet important part. None have directly implicated Putin, but the public declarations calling for peace are an unprecedented hint of dissent against the autocratic leader. Ukrainian native Mikhail Friedman, the founder of Alfa Bank, Russia's largest private bank, became the first oligarch to speak out apparently inadvertently against Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion orders, according to the Financial Times. Quote, "I do not make political statements. I am a businessman with responsibilities to my many thousands of employees in Russia and Ukraine. I am convinced, however, that war can never be the answer." There was a very good article published yesterday, in fact, by Gary Wagner on FX Empire. We'll read just a very small proportion of this. Safe haven assets continue to gain value because of increased geopolitical tensions. Tensions have increased as Russia's invasion continues to escalate, with no real sign of a peaceful resolution through diplomacy seeming possible. Ukrainian citizens continue to witness Russian airstrikes now for the 5th day, as Russian troops move closer to the capital of Kiev. Both gold and the US dollar gained strength today, but it was gold that was favored as the go-to safe haven asset. As of 4:50 p.m. Eastern Time, gold future basis, the most active April 2022 contract, is currently up $22, or a net gain of 1.2%, and fixed at $19.10. The entire precious metal complex traded on the futures exchange, except for platinum, scored significant gains in trading today. And he concludes, "The bottom line is that demands by Russia will not be met by Ukraine, and Ukraine's demands that Russia withdraw are highly unlikely to occur. With the Ukrainian application to NATO, the invasion by Russia has had the opposite effect of what Vladimir Putin had hoped to achieve, and if anything has put Russia's world standing much lower because of the premeditated invasion. As sanctions begin to kick in, citizens of Russia will begin to feel a harsh reality of the recent action of the Russian president. All things being equal, as long as the invasion and brutality by Russia continue to escalate, and America, Canada and EU countries continue to support Ukraine, it appears that the fighting in Ukraine will get much worse before it gets better. That fact will continue to support safe haven assets, specifically gold, taking the precious yellow metal to yet higher prices." Quick look at economic data being announced. Even though the Russia-Ukraine headlines will dominate markets, we can see that the Trading Goods Advance Report for January was a minus 107 billion against a previous month of minus 100, and the Chicago PMI was considerably lower than market forecasts at 56.3 for February. Now today, two important pieces of data: the Market Manufacturing Final PMI and the ISM Manufacturing Index. And as we highlighted on the weekend update, tomorrow we have the ADP Employment Report. Thursday we have numerous services PMIs and Jerome Powell testifying to the Senate committee. And on Friday, the all-important non-farm payrolls. The one area that has excelled these past few days without any doubt has been the cryptocurrency market, which even in the last 24 hours is up over 10%. Bearing in mind this was down to about 1.6 trillion, it's now at 1.9 trillion, and Bitcoin has risen almost $10,000 in the last week or so, and is now standing at $43,000. Finally, as far as this data is concerned, yesterday we could see stocks marginally down in the United States, except for the Nasdaq, which was up 0.4%. Overnight, Asia Pacific broadly up between 0.5% and 1.2%, but in Europe, still flagging, still falling. Although the FTSE's up 0.2%, most of the European stocks are down between 0.75% and 1%. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign, and in our next video, we'll give you an update of our interview with the CEO of the Pure Gold Company. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.